Welcome everybody to the Depths of Motherhood podcast. This is a special season dedicated to the tribe of the mother, but also I know any mothers listening will find this extremely valuable. I've created each episode to offer simple, digestible, and supportive information, which I hope will educate and inspire anyone who listens. So this is by popular demand. Please help us to educate and support the tribe holding the mother. Look forward to passionate and highly knowledgeable guests dedicated to reclaiming the essence of birth and embracing conscious parenting. Throughout our time together, our guests will serve as the guiding voices, illuminating the path towards a deeper understanding of preconception, pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. This is with the mother and the baby being the center of the exploration. In the show notes, you'll discover the link to Nourished Mother package, which will offer many different resources to complement each episode. This is free for all members in the Women's Circle, or £33 for everybody who just wants to purchase the package. A heartfelt thank you to our incredible guests and immense gratitude to my partner for supporting me on this creation. And finally, last but not least, special thank you to Araya, my daughter, for being the endless well of inspiration. Welcome back, everybody. It has been a while since I released an episode. I hope that you are well. We've just come back from a big trip from England. It was just me and my daughter, and it was incredible. I got to see some friends that I haven't seen for years. One of them I haven't seen for 10 years. I can't believe it. So it was quite a beautiful moment having my friends witness me as a mother in real life, not just on the internet. It was so beautiful. And I even met Nina, who some of you may know from the Women's Circle. We've been friends online for around 5 years, and this was the first time that we met in person, so it was a really special moment. As you might tell, my voice is different. I am healing right now. I caught something in the last week and it was really intense, and it's taken me out for like 2 weeks. So the trip home was quite a challenge, but Araya was incredible, and really, she was just so loving, so gentle, so patient with me. So I can't really wish for anything else in them moments. But it is great to get back to my partner Elan, back to the family, back to this beautiful island, having some fresh air, some good food, and just time to rest and begin releasing the episodes again. So this week, we will be welcoming Brienne onto the show, and you might know her as Cosmic Mama Medicine. She works with postpartum ceremony and ritual, and that's the conversation today, really getting into this postpartum phase. So Brienne is a mother, a postpartum facilitator, as I just mentioned, and she has her own rich and beautiful story of her journey through motherhood. Her own experiences have led her to this moment and have deeply inspired her to continue to support women and families. It is a time when mothers call their energy back, integrating their experiences and fully stepping into their new roles. It's a phase of great vulnerability when mothers truly need this support physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of the things, as you may know if you have experienced postpartum. Or maybe you are somebody who is supporting families right now, or maybe you are preparing to conceive or pregnant and this time is coming for you. Together we're going to explore the essential questions. What does postpartum support look like? Who can we turn to for support and help? And how can we clearly communicate our needs? Because often those around us genuinely wish to support but may not know how, especially when we ourselves may be uncertain of what we need in these moments. So instead of another baby outfit or toy, perhaps what's truly needed is financial support, so the parents don't have to go back to work straight away. For somebody else, it might be to come by and help with the laundry or prepare meals or some gentle, nurturing body work. Although there is a physiological process to this postpartum healing, each mother's journey is so unique. What she experiences during her pregnancy, during her childbirth, and what she has on the other side to support her is all going to be very, very different. Therefore, how we organize our postpartum time and how it manifests will look different for everyone. But the idea with this conversation is really just bringing everything to the table and being very honest with what it is you need. And for some of us, we might not be able to take extended time away from work, or we might not have the physical support from friends and family. We might be relying on other modalities to bring the comfort and support. So we're really honoring the different flavors of families and what is available at the time. Oh, yes, as a mother, we deserve the body work, the delicious, nutritious food, the rest, the warmth. And how can that look, even if it's for a short time, even if that's all that's available? Just acknowledging what the body is calling for, what is needed to create softness and safety in the body, in the environment, so the mother and the baby and the family can come to meet each other in this physical realm. We'll also talk about the importance of simply having someone by your side. And that, again, might be on a phone call or online if there's no one near you, but someone to hold the space to honor the mother's journey. It is a deep privilege to be invited into the intimate sanctuary of a mother's postpartum space. I've had the honor to be there with my friends during postpartum, and I just feel it to be such a gift, such a privilege. So our hope in this conversation is to illuminate the pillars of postpartum care, helping you to understand how to lovingly support yourself and other families around you, to communicate needs clearly so that everyone who is involved in the lives of this mother and this baby and this family can really show up in the best way. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I loved recording it. Before we begin, let's take a moment to feel into our body, to notice how our breath is moving, to see if with that next inhale we can bring it in more deeply, letting these waves of love and compassion move through your body, arriving to be with everything that is today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. This is the second time that we have sat and recorded an episode, and I loved our conversation last time, and it was over a year ago. And we were just talking that you're in the same position, you're in your car because you don't get signal at your house. What's been happening since last time we spoke? What's been happening in your world? A year and a
Oh
half of being
gosh.
here.
Yeah, a lot has happened. Yeah, actually 2023 was quite a challenging year for me, but yeah, looking forward to 2024 as being yeah, more abundant and lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for having me again.
so I'm
Yeah.
sending you so much love and life force and energy to whatever is coming in this year. When you said 2024, I'm like, we're in 2024. What
But
happened?
now,
I had a
here
crazy
we
ride
are.
here. Woof, we're
Yeah.
here. So we're talking all about postpartum today, which is wow, I just absolutely love this topic. Out of everything I speak about, I feel like I can never learn too much and I can never have too many reminders because even though I'm 3 years since I gave birth to Araya, I still feel very much I'm in my postpartum phase. And I know a
Mhm.
lot of that is down to the fact that well, I'm unique, but also the first 40 days, as much as I tried to be nourished and have rest, it was hard because it was just me and my partner living in Costa Rica. So let's start with the immediate postpartum phase in particular and why is the first 40 days so important?
Yeah. Well, I think if you think about your body took 10 months to grow this baby and expand, and what a gift it is to yourself to allow yourself to honor the transformation your body went through and all that hard work and all the magic and all the challenge of growing a baby and bringing a baby earthside. And what a gift it is to honor that transformation and that process, then allowing yourself that 40 days to really become the next version of yourself. So I think it's a gift that we can give ourselves as mothers and women, and we deserve it. Think how much we transform physically, and that took 10 months. So 40 days is a minuscule part of that to just try to allow your body to get somewhat back into an alignment.
Yeah, and I've seen it's like a pattern through many traditional practices. I've just come back from Peru, and they also have this time frame. I was looking very closely into Chinese medicine. They have this time
Yes.
frame, Ayurveda, right? Like,
All the traditional cultures throughout the world practice some sort of lying in period, as they call it. And it's a range from like 20 to 60 days, but
mm,
they allow the body to heal and rest and recover and not rush back into, you know,
yeah.
getting up and about and doing things. Yeah. They
Well,
really understand what the body needs. And like in traditional Chinese medicine, they talk about that the postpartum time is one of the 3 golden opportunities in a woman's life where she can actually increase her qi, her life force energy, if she takes care of herself. After her first menstruation, her first postpartum, and then menopause, if you actually tend to your healing and allow your body to rest and recover, you can actually become more vital than what you were in your previous state.
I've noticed so much in after giving birth, I focus a lot of my time and energy on honoring my menstrual cycle. I thought I was doing it before, but I realized
Mhm.
the part that I was missing was the rest and the nourishment. I was in spring, like, yeah, I can do this. And I was riding off that, thinking I was honoring my menstrual cycle. And then I
Mm,
realized, but I just carried that on all the way through my bleed. And only like becoming a mother have I realized how important that is and how beautiful it would have been to learn how to honor and nourish my body during my bleed and also with my partners and my family, like respecting and honoring that time because
yeah.
I was praised so much for just pushing through, like, oh, look at
Oh,
this.
yeah.
You can just keep going. And I was celebrated so much for that. And then
Yeah.
when it come to rest, especially in my postpartum phase, people are asking, why are you taking 40 days? Like I took it seriously.
Mhm.
I was like, 40 days, I'm taking this time. And I remember like people in my family like, "Why are you isolating yourself in these time?" And it was like, I was having this feeling like, "Am I being isolated? Am I gonna get depressed?" Like, it was all this reflection coming back, and I was so confused. So, let's go let's go that way because people listening now are gonna be supporting the mother if it's not the mother listening. How can we? Because I feel like there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of conversations to be had to
Yes.
prepare for this time instead of just arriving and being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
oh."
Yeah.
Like,
It's so important that the preparation happens prenatally, that you have the conversations with your family, with your partner, with your friends who are going to be around you in this time, and that you discuss like what kind of, yeah, you plan to be resting for 40 days. You plan to be staying in bed and, because modern society and our modern culture are programmed, like, okay, up and at 'em, let's go right back to it. And so they're not, many people are not used to like, what? You're staying in bed for 40 days or close to it? That's weird. But yeah, having those discussions prenatally and preparing it, like this is the kind of foods that I want and prepping those foods, like batch making them or having your family and friends come and prepare meals together and put them in the freezer, all of that has to happen prenatally because once you're in your postpartum phase, you're done for, you're in it. And, you can't really play catch up. It's overwhelming. That's why doing it prenatally is so important. Yeah. And whether you're going to hire a postpartum doula or use just friends and family, making those people aware. that you want them to tend to you. What both mothers and their support need to know that this time is not a luxury. You deserve it. The mother deserves it. A lot of times we have trouble asking for the help and support we need. So just reframing that these mothers deserve to be tended to. Like I said, they just did the 10 months of growing a baby and bringing a baby earthside. So it may feel like a lot or too much, but just, get rid of that out of your mind and be like, no, you deserve it. You deserve to be tended to. You deserve to have this time. And whoever's taking care of you should have that in their intention too. Having that intention, that why of why are you doing this? It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's for your well being. And then you being taken care of and having your well-being tended to, then you can have so much more space and presence to be with your baby. So it's all connected, you know?
I know there's a part of my subconscious, like, beliefs about myself that I don't deserve it, because as you're talking, I feel emotional, and that's another
Mhm,
thing of, if we can gather together before the baby comes and start to express our needs, as I started to learn about what will be happening in postpartum, I really just kept it to myself. I was like, "Oh, I know what I need." But now I realize it's important to gather the people that are gonna be around you and just
mhm.
share with them what's gonna be happening, like you said, and come up with little plans. And I feel like these moments of gathering and, like, maybe having a day preparing food together and putting it in the freezer, or maybe just practicing asking for things or practicing resting, like having time where you just rest and you see what comes out. Like, I was still working online, I was doing all the things, and it is a practice to kind of strip away conditioned beliefs of what it means to exist in the world and have worth. And I think it really roots down to worth, but it's so beyond that.
Yes.
Going in the postpartum phase, it's like the physical needs of the body. So how can we get to a point where we have people around us that understand this, and we don't, yeah, we can ask, but we maybe don't have to, because they already know what's happening and we're part of this whole unit, knowing what the mother needs to move through and heal and nourish and evolve through this time. So,
Mhm.
let's talk about body work as one of
Mhm.
the pillars, because I know there's these pillars that we talk about. So the body work, there's the rest, there's the nourishment. What else is there?
Mhm.
Is
So body work is a pillar of the foundations of, and my teacher, Rochelle Garcia Saliga, who I learned this from, she calls the pillars, those ones that we just mentioned, and they are supported by community. You can't have those pillars without your community supporting you. So you can have the warmth, the nourishing meals, the body work, and all that. But yeah, body work specifically as a pillar to the postpartum time, again, I'll just keep going back to your body expanded and grew this baby for 10 months. And so you actually have, your uterine ligaments are elastic and they are stretched to maximum capacity, And so when you think about when you break a wrist or a bone, like that can heal in 6 weeks. But a ligament, if you sprain a ligament in your wrist, that can take 3 to 4 months. And that's the same thing with our uterine ligaments. They take months to get back into their, to bring the uterus back into alignment, to get back into that, yeah, that pre-pregnancy state. It takes months. And so body work is a way to facilitate getting our organs, our uterus, our bones back into proper alignment, and it takes time. And so that's why rest along with body work, you can't just do body work without the rest. Because if you're getting body work and then you're up, those ligaments are going to get out of alignment. So it's like these pillars do need to work hand in hand. And yeah, massage, especially womb massage and breast massage during that early postpartum time is so nourishing and tender. Yeah, our wounds are so jiggly and squishy during that time. And how beautiful it is to get loving touch, gentle, nourishing, loving touch on your womb and your belly, honoring that what it just went through. And then our breasts, we get engorged, there's milk everywhere. And to get the same thing, get loving, nourishing, gentle touch and help it smooth away those achy, tender spots that we all feel when we're flooded with milk. And it's so important. And all that gentle, loving, nourishing touch facilitates oxytocin, which leads to more breast milk and also leads to facilitating our healing. So it's all interconnected. Yeah.
So beautiful. In my postpartum phase, I used to get a lot of body work, like maybe every 3 days or something. I would
Mm,
go and pay for it because I didn't have any support there. And I remember as well, this was really important lesson for me, is that I didn't say what I needed. So I went for a massage and it was far too deep. And I got so sick after it because she went so deep into my neck and then I couldn't move my neck. And I have this newborn and I'm having flu-like symptoms from the
mm,
release. And I just
yeah.
realized I'm like, oh, it's also important what you're receiving and who you're receiving
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's so important, especially with body work, that the person giving the body work understands the postpartum body, that it is like a newborn body. And yeah, it's more about gentle, loving touch than deep, deep tissue massage. Yeah, that's not going to be supportive during that time. It's about slowly encouraging the body to, yeah, to go back into their, well, more their new form. Yeah, but
I'm getting a
it's
massage
very,
now.
yeah, slow and, we're in a cocoon. It's cocoon like. Yeah. So you want it more to be loving and nourishing rather than forceful. And as the weeks go by, maybe after 6 to 8 weeks, you might want a little bit more. And of course, it's, personal preference. But yeah, the ideal, especially in those first couple of weeks, is just gentle, loving touch.
Anyone can do that. Anyone who
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're a woman or a mother, you do not need to be a certified massage therapist to tend to a newly postpartum mom. She just needs some hands on her body, loving and honoring her. Like that is the most important. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. And what do you think about closing of the bones? I'm just saying one name for what this is called around the world, but where a mother is wrapped. Do you think this
Yeah.
can be done in the early postpartum phase?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's again totally depending on if the mother feels ready to receive it. I know in some traditional cultures, like in Mexico, they'll do it very early on to kind of facilitate that closing and bringing the body back into the alignment and encouraging the organs and bones to shift back and closing up that wide open feeling. So, yeah, perfect during that time. And again, it's if the mother feels ready. I remember with my postpartum time, I didn't feel ready for it yet. I was like, I'm still wide open and I'm not ready to close up yet. I'm still feeling very tender. Um, so, yeah, it's totally a personal preference, but it can be deeply supportive. Even just like if you had a rebozo and kind of wrapped your belly up to feel that support, because you are kind of like feeling a little unstable and wiggly. So giving yourself some just like support around the hips and belly is so lovely.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's exactly how I felt. I didn't feel like I wanted the full-on ceremony of closing of the bones. I felt like I kind of still needed to be in that space, but I did
Hmm.
the rebozo to wrap around my hips. And I suppose you can use
Yeah.
material really just to feel that support and to feel held. And I really didn't know much about anything to do with the rebozo, but I had bought one and carried it around with me for years.
Mm.
Yeah. I saw this long scarf and I'm like, I just want that around my hips. I'd used it during
Yeah.
my periods and I just felt, yeah, I really want that. And that felt so nice for me, like just to be wrapped and to be held. And I really like
Hmm.
it wasn't an aim of mine for my belly to go down. Like it wasn't in my
Right.
mind. Yeah, I did notice, and maybe this is just my body type, but I did notice from using the wrap and many other women that I've spoke to, it did seem to everything seemed to just go back into place so
Hmm.
quickly.
They do a lot of belly binding, like
Mhm.
they do that practice during the
Right.
postpartum time. That felt like a little intense for me, like too much of a tightness.
You
But some
can't just
people
whip it off, right? It's like you
no, no, it's like binded up. So, but
yeah,
some people might find that very supportive, depends
yeah.
on your needs.
It took me 3 years to have well, it's called a Wataska in well, in Peru, where it was like an Andean tradition. So I had one a few months ago and I was like, I would never have been able to do this postpartum because we did it the traditional way and it was very much like every part of me was wrapped. Plus I had these heavy blankets on. Plus underneath all that on my skin was this like potion mixture of eggs and herbs and urine and it was all over my body. And there's a aim to like get your body really, really hot. So you have a hat on, you have
Wow.
gloves on, and I am naturally like fire element, and I was freaking out. And I also have a thing of like I don't want
Mm,
to be closed up. So I reflected
yeah.
and I was like, I just didn't need that, you know, like, and I feel
Mhm.
so deeply that every woman should be part of these ceremonies of like, what do they need at this time? Like, what's going to be deeply nourishing? Because I felt for
Right.
myself, I wouldn't need my boundaries being like tested, you know, I just needed to be held as I was in that moment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When I'm offering closing ceremonies, I want the mother to feel like it's like a cozy hug, like it should feel like a sigh of relief. Yeah, nothing intense or pushing. Like, yes, you're crossing the threshold and we're honoring the rite of passage, but it's gentle and you know, yeah, you're being held.
Yeah.
That should be, at least that's how I come at it.
I'm like, get me out of here right now.
Yeah, that sounds intense. Yeah.
Super intense.
Yeah.
Anyway, gentle and nourishing. So
Yes.
let's talk about rest and recovery because it's
Mhm.
very important. And I mentioned before, like it's difficult to, well, it was difficult for me to get in that state of deep rest, of actually giving myself permission to rest. So how can the people who are supporting the mother, how can they encourage this and kind of make an environment for that to happen?
Yeah. I mean, it's so important and there is so much mind games, for us as mothers to be like to allow ourselves to rest. Yeah, and so it's important that the support people around her, yeah, really be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Get back in bed. And also that they're on top of it so that she doesn't even have to get out of bed, or that she doesn't have to like worry about doing the laundry. Again, it's about setting up all those tasks prenatally, so it's not in the middle of like she's week 1 or 2 and she's like worrying about the laundry or trying to feed herself. It's like, no, that stuff, let's take care of it beforehand. Yeah. And I think it's like also as mothers, we have to realize that if we're up and about, we may feel fine in the moment because we're flooded with hormones or whatever, but it's in the long run when you're up at week 2 and then you don't realize that you are getting your uterus out of alignment and then later on you're dealing with prolapse problems or incontinence because you didn't allow your body the time to rest. So it's more preventative, allowing your body to rest so you don't have to deal with peeing when you sneeze or whatever later on. There's these common dysfunctions that so many women are dealing with that are not normal. And so it's giving ourselves that time to rest and recover and allowing our bodies to heal in you know, in a safe, loving environment so we don't have to deal with those dysfunctions later on in life because we tended to our bodies in the crucial healing times. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And I feel for myself in the world that I was brought up in, it's like I can do anything and I will do everything. But in the moments, I was really humbled because I realized
Yeah.
and if I saw the dishes or I saw the pile of washing, it would make me so anxious, like almost like I was
Yeah.
feeling, you know. And I was like, I
Mhm.
couldn't even though I could think to myself, oh, you know, the most important thing is to be with my baby right now, to rest. I would like see the dishes and I'd be like, literally, I just can't, you know, like I have this thing inside of me and I know everyone's different, but whatever that trigger is, there might be something else. But
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop. And then it would be asking, like, and maybe I would ask in a way that was more of a reaction to being triggered, like, why don't you do the dishes? You know? And then it would be
Right.
this whole thing of like, then the environment is not feeling safe anymore. So I feel
Mhm.
like as you're sharing this, about this preparation. It's just so, so important. It might seem so simple, like, okay, I'm gonna come and do the dishes, or like, I'm gonna do your washing for you. Like, it's so important, like in the moments of doing that, and just maybe like cozy candle, or just freshening up the space so that
Yep.
it's in alignment. It just helps the nervous system to rest. There's nothing literally to do. And one of the other things that I really like, next time, if there's a next time, I will for sure clear my calendar. Like, I did not, I think
Yeah.
calendar up until maybe, well, 40 days. It was 40 days. And then as soon as my calendar opened, I was like back taking clients again, like 90 minutes. And then
Yeah.
one thing woke me up, and I was sat and I had my computer resting in Araya's cot because I didn't have a table. And I was working with a woman. I hear Araya crying in the distance. And I thought, I'm just going to let it pass. Like, she's with daddy. Like, it's going to be fine, and he didn't pass. And the woman
Yeah.
said to me, "I think your baby's crying." And I was just like, "Oh, like, what am I
Yeah.
doing? Like, my poor baby's crying. This woman's telling me my baby's crying. She knows
Mm.
I'm the postpartum." I canceled like my contract with this who I was working with coaching. And I had to get over that thing that I am worthy because I exist, and now I'm a mother and I can't be
Mhm.
replaced here. And that was such
Yeah.
a interesting insight. So I would definitely next time be looking at how can I clear my calendar, because this whole my existence is surrounded by like reclaiming our experience as women, and honoring one another. So if people around
Mhm.
me judging me for not showing up, then wow, like this is not my thing to hold. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's so entangled in our being of like what
Yeah.
worth me and showing up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it'll keep showing up if you ignore it.
So like when I'm like moving my arms on my thumb or something, there'll be a little thumb sign that comes up. And at first it freaked me out, but now I realize I need to turn off my gestures. So I'll do that.
Oh,
'Cause I see it on my side.
okay. Technology.
I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I see it on my end, or I didn't. Yeah.
Anyway, was
But
anything
yeah,
else
I
added to the rest?
yeah, I was just gonna say I totally know that feeling of when you hear baby crying, like with if your baby's with your partner or grandma or something, and it's like you're trying to do something, but then it's like there goes the focus. Like all our attention wants to be with our baby, which is where we're supposed to be. So it's so hard to try to like be in work mode if you are hearing, yeah, baby crying and needing you. So yeah, clearing time so you can have that for the first few months.
And if you can't have
Yeah.
that, like, what is the solution? Like, who are you having your baby with? Like, do you trust them? Do you feel safe? And I suppose that it's not so easy for everyone, every mother to have this 40 days. There is,
Yeah.
like, mothers need to work. They really have to bring the money in, or they have other responsibilities, or other children. So
Right. Yeah.
can we resource ourselves in a way that we can honor ourselves and our family? And I suppose that also comes in with the conversation before baby comes. Like, how are we going to do it
Yeah.
as a team?
And that's like with like, many people will want to do baby showers, but maybe instead of doing baby shower, it's forgoing that and actually being like, we just need funds so
Mm.
I don't have to go work for 4 months or whatever. Like, I don't need a party, I actually need to be with my baby for 4 months. That's the most important thing. So, that's what you can say to your family and friends, like, "Thank you so much. I see that you wanna honor me, but actually the best thing is if you just set up a funds for us so me and my partner don't have to go back to work right away, or that we can hire a postpartum doula or childcare or whatever." That's again setting that up prenatally. And with all the stuff that with the baby shower stuff, like so much of that, those gadgets and plastic things we don't really need. Baby just needs mama and like a few things. So, yeah, it's really prioritizing what you need and really being at home and not having to jump back into work or having extra funds so you can really hire if you need to hire somebody that is like of quality and that you trust and feel safe with.
Well,
That's so important.
you worded that so beautifully, because I feel like sometimes asking for money can be another trigger. But the way that you said that, like, so I can be with my baby, so that I can
Yeah.
have that support, it makes such a difference because these things are maybe just going to get put in the cupboard or go to the charity box or whatever.
Mm.
Like maybe they'll come
Right.
in, but let the mother and the family who are supporting the mother, the baby, like let them decide together what they're going to use this money for instead of presuming. And I feel like,
Yeah.
as you said, this it's the same with death and funerals as well. Like my brother just
Yeah.
died. Everyone was raising
Mhm.
this charity that we don't know anything about because they want to do something, like you want to feel like put that energy somewhere. Like we're raising money for this. And I'm like, my mom just spent 15K on a funeral, like maybe it would have
Right.
been better to give it to her because she had to go back to work like a few weeks later. And it's the same
Oh,
thing how we treat people through death and through birth. It's like, let's look at that. Like it's so
yeah.
important. But she also had that. I don't want to ask for money. But like money's a real thing and it does help.
Yeah.
So really thank you for sharing that. That just helped something in my own week.
Yeah,
Well,
it comes down to the intention of, okay, what's the real need? So mother can stay home with baby, it's there's a realness to it, not just being like, oh, we just want money, icky to some people to ask for money. But it's like, if you remember that this is so your baby is truly taken care of and nourished, and you don't have to put them in a daycare or whatever, right away.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also the thing of like people sometimes don't like to give money, do they? They're like, oh, I don't want to hand it over. But just like you said, that what is the reason behind it? Then it
Yeah.
creates also this vision of like mother and
Hmm.
baby together. And
Yeah.
that's okay. It makes sense.
Hmm.
One. And it's kind of like a shame that we have to explain it, but this is a world we're living in.
Yeah.
This is like
Totally.
new ways of having babies and raising babies. So we're not living in that tight community where people are in and out bringing food or all this stuff. So it's like,
Hmm.
what is going to support with the time?
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of the registries, you can put like a funds part, and you can be like, this is so I don't have to go back to work. This is
Mhm.
so I can get body work. This can be lactation support. You can list the things. And then people are like, oh, okay, I see, rather than giving you another onesie or whatever. Familiar?
God. Yeah, a
Yeah.
polyester onesie, and you're like, great,
Yeah.
thanks for that.
Yeah.
Nice fun.
Exactly.
Really what I want to put on my baby.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to food and nourishment and the idea of meal trains. Like, how can we set them up?
Yeah. I mean, there's a great website now, mealtrain.com, that you can actually organize it where people can put their info in, and you can get a whole schedule. Yeah. If you have
Wow.
local friends and family. And they can even give you, depending on where you live, if there's delivery gift cards or whatever, it can all go into this meal train website. So that's the very modern day version of it. But yeah, I mean, again, it's prepping that food with your friends and family and support team beforehand, making those batch meals. The book, The First 40 Days, has all those delicious, nourishing recipes that you can't beat. Like, that's a perfect, easy to follow along. If you made everything in there, you're golden. But yeah, you want to think of warm, nourishing, easy to digest foods, soups, stews, broths, and that have warming spices that kind of help the digestion because of our organs are slowly moving back. You want stuff that's easy to digest and those warming spices to help move things along so you don't have to really like struggle and with digestive issues. And then yeah, a lot of hydration, like hydrating drinks beyond just water, like broths and stuff to help. So you're getting nutrient dense and hydration at the same time.
Yeah, it's like thinking about cozy winter foods.
Mhm.
I was in Costa Rica and it was absolutely boiling, but I remember still like how I was craving, naturally just craving like spiced foods, like chai
Mhm.
lattes was something that I was massively craving.
Yeah.
And another thing, not about food, but I remember even though it was so hot, my feet were so cold. And every time I didn't wear
Yeah.
socks, my hip, my pelvis always ached. And that's when I realized how important the link
Wow.
between the feet and the pelvis is because I was like,
Yeah.
no reason. Like my feet aren't like, I don't feel like they're cold. And then I just felt it so like in my body. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is not just a thing people say. Literally, the feet affect the pelvis. And I was like
Yeah.
wearing socks and like
Yeah.
what you please eat, you know?
If you get anything for a mom, get her some cozy socks and keep them on. Yeah, those are the best. And also, it's because our blood, yeah, it travels up from the feet to the womb. So, if they're not, if your feet aren't warm, then there's cold blood going to your womb. So you want to keep that warm circulation flowing to the womb.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, very, very.
so this time can be quite a lot for the people supporting the mother.
Yeah.
I found especially for us, because there was just Elon here. I was very new to the place that we were living. We'd been there a few months. I didn't really know anyone. But I found like that was really difficult because we only had each other for support. So I would be
Yeah.
sharing with him and then he would be sharing with me. And then I'd be getting triggered because I can't hold you right now. But
Yeah, the partner also needs his own support team because if he's supporting you, it can get a little sticky and mucky if it's just the two of you because it's a lot and it can feel very overwhelming, especially for the first time. So yeah, having that another person that he can go and talk to and also switch off with because it's a lot. And that's why we need a circle of support around us, friends, family. And then if we don't have that, hiring somebody, making it a priority to hire a postpartum doula who understands what's needed during this time. Yeah.
I remember like Elon went out one night because he just needed that break, and he went
Yeah.
to ecstatic dance or something, and I was so mad. I was like, "How would you leave me? And you're gonna be dancing with all these, like, maidens, like, they're gonna be so beautiful." All the way
Mm,
memories came up, and I was just like, "Please don't leave me." And then but now on the other side, I realized, like, just that moment to just, like, get out and breathe and feel themselves
yeah.
can get so intense if there is not that bigger network, and this is actually the reason for all of this because the episodes are going from preconception onwards, and I just feel by having the knowledge and hearing stories from other mothers and women and families, like this is it's there's challenges and there is things that we can do to prepare the environment. Wow, prepare is a prepare. But, like, knowing that also you matter, like, as a support for the mother,
Mhm.
you matter
Yeah.
too, and making sure that you're nourished and cared for and your needs are being met, like, this is also a massive transition for the partner, like, this is a new world, this
Yes.
whether it's the first or the second, but, like, my partner, he's not done any doula training courses, he's not a midwife, he's not been around kids before, and then suddenly it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're taking care of a mother and a baby, good luck."
Mhm. Yep. I know with my partner, he almost got like his way of trying to keep everything like he became almost like OCD cleaning and like I could see that like that was he was like that was him trying to deal and I was like it's okay. You don't have it doesn't have to be spotless. Like I appreciate that you're doing that but like it's okay. And I could tell that he's an athlete and he always needs to get out and move his body and I was like go. It's okay. You can take a moment, you know? And allowing that as well, because him being stressed or overwhelmed affected me and then affected baby, it's all interconnected. So, yeah, making sure that they have time and the space to, like, discharge as well. It's so important. Yeah.
Totally. Would your partner come on? Maybe he can come on and talk about
Yeah, that's gonna
ask them about it. I feel like I've
yeah,
been putting it out and I just don't get anyone coming back, like, to talk about it. Like,
yeah,
maybe he could
mhm,
come on and share his experience and, I don't know, give a
yeah,
little support to the fathers.
yeah, because it
Someone
is they go through it too. They have their own journey, and because we have, we're with the baby, it's baby's in our body. We have 10 months. We're getting to know the baby that way. And then when baby arrives earthside, it's kind of like, oh, all of a sudden they're introduced. So they have their own getting to know you period. And especially when those first few months where baby didn't want anybody but mom, it can be
Oh,
hard. It can feel like they don't know what to do or they don't know, like they feel a little fish out of water. So
yeah.
it's a hard time as well, the transition into fatherhood. And there's not a lot of resources out there to support them. So, yeah, they have their own journey to yeah, to walk.
Sending love out to the dads.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you wanna add in with this conversation?
I mean, just kind of going off of what we're just talking about with the men, taking that moment to Yeah, whether it's going out, moving your body, finding those practices or those rituals to allow you to come back into your presence or in your body. I find little rituals, whether it's movement or meditation or pulling cards, whatever it is, it's finding those moments that allow you to just check back in with yourself because so much of, especially the early postpartum, we're just like in that grind. Eat, sleep, diaper change, and finding those moments, even if baby's sleeping or you're nursing your baby, checking back in with yourself. Like, how am I feeling right here, right now? Finding those moments to have a little ceremony with your cup of tea because it's so important to check back in with us because we're putting so much outward energy. Finding those moments to just be like, how am I doing? Journaling too is like a huge, great practice that was my lifesaver during my early postpartum. So just finding those things to support you during that time. And if you are supporting a mother, giving her 5 minutes so she can have those, like, so if you the baby, so she can have a shower or take a bath.
I remember, well, first of all, it's really interesting you said that because I was having a full-on conversation about this, the need for ritual of it being
Mm,
for any rite of passage, really. But because I've held a lot of grief this year, I've noticed
mm,
when so I'm doing a ritual, like, it's whoever's birthday or it's their anniversary, and I light a candle and I make a little plan, and maybe that morning I wake up, I feel so crappy and I just want to like curl up, put the blanket over my head. But I'm a mother and I have to show up, so I
mhm.
I the ritual gets me out of that and into like what
Yeah,
is happening to really honor my own emotions and also to honor like who I'm bringing in or like, like who I'm grieving about. And I feel like what you just said with a cup of tea, a candle, a shower, whatever it is, just taking them moments
yeah.
and before going into it, she's coming in saying, then having the moments of intention and then practices are so, so beautiful.
Mm.
She's like, so yeah, I'm really thank you for sharing that. Where can we find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Cosmic Mama Medicine, as well. That's my website, cosmicmamamedicine.com. And so most of my work is in person with mothers doing closing rites of passage ceremonies, honoring their transition into motherhood. And then I do have 2 online offerings. So a mini workshop of all about closing of the bones. So you can find that. That's on my website. And as well as an in-depth online course all about incorporating ceremony and ritual in your postpartum time. So you can go into your motherhood truly thriving. So yeah, that's kind of I just kind of touched on it right there at the end and it's more in depth. But yeah, ceremonies and rituals that you can add to your postpartum. So you like have those tools and rituals to ground. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And it just helps as well, like women who find it hard to maybe be creative to do a ritual, So having that on hand and having ideas is such a gift. Like I plan out my moon rituals well in advance because sometimes I just don't have anything up here to even think of, like,
Mhm.
what would I like to
Yeah.
today? And then I might miss it. But I know if I have it and I'm just like, oh, it just says to light a candle and write some things down that I'm grateful for. And I'm like, I can do that. It's simple.
Yeah. Yes. Love that. And yeah, just for any listeners, if they're interested in my courses, they can use the promo code Mama Love, and that gets them 50% off. So
Oh, that's awesome. I'll put that all
yeah.
in the show notes. I'll put the links and this code.
Yeah.
So, so much. And it's been wonderful to catch up again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.